till I die, Spurs Diehards, Tottenham till I die, Tottenham till I die, Tottenham till I die, Spurs Diehards, Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die, Spurs Diehards, Tottenham till I die.
Hello and welcome to the regular Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham till I die. I've got a great panel for you. I'll introduce in a minute once I see who's in the chat channel. And I'll put the beater on so all your chats come up. Right. Yeah, I'll start with you, Eugene, in good old US of A. How are you?
Good. Glad to be on. I'm in the presence of greatness. Brad, Connor, good to be on with you boys.
And Brad, before we come to our debutant, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Just sort of trying to stay cool in this amazing weather that we're having at the moment.
I've got a pint of Guinness here, actually. The thin stuff, very good in hot weather. And Connor, debutant, thanks for coming on, making your debut with us. I'm sure it'll be the first of many. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. Hot as well, and yeah, really, really excited to make my debut. So thanks very much for having me on.
Okay, we've got a few. We've got some regular friends of the show in the chat. Kevin, big up, Kevin. Old Dante, big up, mate. Beast, regular in the podcast as well in the WhatsApp groups. Callum, evening, Callum. I think Callum's at work. Yeah. Graham. And we've already got 42 watching us on various platforms, which is very good on Tuesday night when people have got work. Right, I'll get into the banners. Latest transfer rumours. And I've always said it, I hate the transfer window. Well, I'll put this up earlier. No news is good news, or no news is panic stations, right? But there has been a bit of news, but I don't know what strength we can give to the rumour. And Steve from Stateside Footy, who's a good friend of the show, has messaged us, like all of us, I think, in the last 20 minutes with this. Whether that is agreed or not, but I think that amount of money would get that deal done. Connor, we'll start with you. You'd be happy with this, yeah? You don't give a fuck about the money, do you? Because I don't.
I don't care about the money because I know we're in a position where we can be spending that type of money. So yeah, as you, I just want players in the door now. I think it's been a painful transfer window. You know, I think the signings that we have made for the first team, I'm happy with Kudus and Paulinho. But we need to do a lot more. We need to, you know, when you've got the context of having finished 17th, although I don't think the squad is the 17th, best or fourth worst in the league, you know, and got that golden ticket still of Champions League money. I think we're all desperate to see that, you know, us giving Frank the best chance of success. I'm not sure they've done that yet. But that being said, I think if they get this Savinho deal over the line, and I'm sure we're going to come on to Eze as well. Those are two fantastic acquisitions, I think, for the first team. It's just a shame they weren't a little bit earlier. But I think, you know, to give a time for proper pre-season, ready for clearly the Super Cup tomorrow, but then Burnley at the weekend as well. But yeah, in terms of these signings, definitely very happy. I think they'll both improve us a lot.
Yeah, I'm not getting excited at the moment. I've seen it all before. Well, Morgan Gibbs White is a prime example. Eugene, what's your take on this? Do you like the player? Have you seen him play? I did post videos of him everywhere.
I've seen him play. I mean, I'm in the minority. I do like the player, but he's still raw. He's still young. My concern is if Savinho is the only one who'll come in, we're still not solving our biggest issue, which is the goals. Even with Savinho, we don't have enough goals on the team. You know, without Son, without Madison, just given our striker situation, Savinho, he has a lot of talent, but he's not the clinical winger or attacker that we need. So if it's him and Eze together, you know, that's fine. We can wait one more season for a new striker. If it's just Savinho, I feel like we're gonna struggle scoring goals all year long. He's not the clinical scorer that I want, given that Son isn't there anymore.
Brad, what do you know about Savinho? Have you seen him, and do you share Eugene's concern about goals?
I remember him being signed by Man City. Was it last season or season before? I remember him coming on and looking fairly all right. But, I mean, he's another decent winger. We've got a lot of wingers. I mean, they're all potential at this stage rather than proper wingers or proper, you know, Premiership wingers. What I would say about the goals problem, yeah, I totally agree. We've suddenly lost, you know, two of our best goals for the last sort of 10 years. You know, in Kane and Son. I mean, all right, Kane was 2 years earlier. But I was just thinking when Eugene was talking then, back to Pochettino when he first took over, we had Son, Ericsson, Dele Alli, and I think Kane all scoring 20 goals a season.
The desk is known DSK, yeah.
The ultimate. But when you think of it, when Pochettino first took over, we hadn't bought Son at that stage. Kane wasn't getting the game because he had, I think, Soldado, wasn't it? I think the player. So Kane hadn't really hit the ground running, and I can't remember Ericsson, and I think Dele Alli was basically loaned back again to MK Don. So I think we have to sort of, and I know people hate, especially myself and Adrian, us of the older generation. I hate it when people say you got to be patient, but unfortunately, that's the situation we're in. I'm not expecting a lot this season. Which was the same with the first season under Ange. And the reason I'm saying that is because, again, we've got a team that have got to bed into new tactics. We've gone from loads of tactics under Conte to virtually no tactics under Postecoglou to now loads of tactics under Frank. And from what I've heard of Frank and what I've heard people talk about him, I think he's the right man for the job. But it will take time for the players to get used to these tactics, especially the ones where you have to change during the game, which I think he's very, very good at. And I always say, and it's the same sort of thing, with things like that, I think a lot of it's down to what I call muscle memory. And it's that you do things instinctively. Once you get, like, for instance, you know me, I play guitar. When you're learning the chords, it's a real pain. And you get to a stage where you do it without even thinking. And I think that's what happens to happen with the tactics of playing football. You have to know where you have to be or what position you have to be instinctively, not thinking, what did Thomas say? Oh, yeah, I've got to be there. You've got to do it instinctively. And I think that will take time. I would, after winning the Europa League last season, I would love to maybe win the FA Cup. It all depends on, obviously, the luck of the draw, that sort of thing. But I think by the time the FA Cup starts in January, we might have been playing for 3 or 4 months and the tactics might be bedding in. If you go back to Pochettino's first season, I think we played Everton, I think it was, in around about October, November, and we beat them 2-0, I think it was. It might not have been. But we did beat them. And I remember the pundits on the TV saying, they're actually playing the way Pochettino wants to play. That's the first time we've seen them do that. So I think it will take time. So, yes, I am worried. We haven't got a lot of goal scoring, but I think if we do get them in, and there might be some goal scorers that we don't even know about at the moment. We didn't really know much about Kane, did we? We knew he was good in the reserves and that, but we didn't really bank on him being the top goal scorer. And we didn't know anything about Son. When we signed Son, it's like, who the hell's that? You know, so yeah, I think we have to be a little bit patient. Although I hate being patient. I want it now, but unfortunately it's life.
Big up Blaine, who's just gifted 10 memberships. If you receive a membership, please give him your thanks either now or later on if you don't know you've got one and you're not yet until you find out, okay? Yeah, it's excellent. I share Eugene's concern. I've said it ever since I first appeared on podcasts, right? That a good winger back in the day got you a 1 in 4 strike rate. The freaky wingers like Salah and Son, they get you 1 in 3, right? These are world-class players or close to it, or they are, right? You can argue about whether you think they are or not, right? But they're excellent. So I mean, I hope we're not in a position where we think like, oh, a winger's going to. We've seen it in the chat. Wingers getting loads of pass crosses into the box. What's the saying? You're going to score 50 goals in it. You know, you can't rely on one man. I mean, I'm sure they will chip in with some, but it's waiting. We have, I mean, proven wingers that score goals. You know, I mean, I get it. Savinho is an upgrade as well. If he has got in for this price, he is an upgrade. And to me, he was a £55 million player. Basically, if we've had to pay an extra 10, I don't care. You know, I mean, we got him in like. And when you look at him, he has scored some bangers when you go and watch the videos from outside the box as well. So I'm sure he will, and then it depends on what sort of team you're in if you haven't scored goals. You know, in City, they score on from everywhere anyway, so I don't think it's more so much of a priority. He didn't get much game time there. So if we offered them the right amount of money, they will sell. And what do you think, Connie? You think we'll go for Go on, Eugene. Do you think?
Oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, go on.
I'm just saying, like,
what
really bugs me is we're so reactive. If Savinho is our target, cool, great player potential, but why buy Tell, right? If we're buying a 21-year-old, why buy Tell before? Because that 35 million or 40 million, we could spend that on Wissa or a striker that we need. But we're buying a kid in Tell. We have Odegaard, who's also a kid, and now we're spending 65, 70 on Savinho. So we have all these kids who play on the wing, because Tell, I just don't see him being good enough to be a striker. It's just the lack of a cohesive plan. That's what annoys me. Again, like one or the other, okay, cool. I don't rate Tell, but, you know, I can see how he might have potential. But getting Odegaard, Tell, and now Savinho, while we don't have decent strikers, that's the piece that annoys me. It's like that 35 million, that's Wissa right there. And it's...
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from, because if you haven't seen a lot of Tell, I watched videos of him before, he's not a winger. He is an actual striker, and he was pushed out on the wings at Bayern. He's not taking Kane's place in the middle, right? When he's playing, it's not happening, right? So I don't know. While we're here, then, what's your take on Tell, then, Connor? What do you think?
I do get Eugene's concern, because it's just that sort of, you know, when you're thinking out of squad build and you're continuously buying this young up and coming jam tomorrow type talent, there's only so much of that you can have before you know you get frustrated. And Brad mentioned it earlier. I mean, I think Tottenham fans must be the most patient fans on earth with the last 24 years of promises of jam tomorrow, with, you know, wait until we got the stadium, wait until we got Champions League money, wait until, you know, it just always feels like that a little bit, doesn't it? But so I get the concern. I agree with you, Adrian. I think Tell, he's not an out and out winger in the way that a Savinho is. He's sort of shifted out on the left, can play there. But my worry with him when he plays up top, at the moment at his age, he hasn't quite worked out how to properly use his body to hold the ball up well. So, you know, I can't see him as a low 9 in the traditional sense in the Premier League either. He's sort of that second striker, right? He would be in that old traditional 4-4-2, the man who plays off, you know, another striker, and I think that might work. But let's see. I think with Savinho, the one thing I would say when we sort of compare like what he was at Man City versus perhaps Girona the season before, and obviously La Liga is different to the Prem, I get that, but Pep has put him on the other wing for a start. You know, he traditionally played out on the left. It sounds like he's going to play out on the left for us. And also, if you just look at the way Pep plays his wingers, it's not the way that he's going to play with us. He's going to play more the Girona style for us, I think, in terms of, you know, more space. City come against low blocks all the time. They like their wingers to pass the ball as quickly as possible backwards. You know, you just got to look through the goals and assists in City's team. It's all geared up to Haaland basically scoring 90% of their goals, and then everyone else chipping in with 3s and 4s. And so I wouldn't read too much necessarily into the goals he scored at City. I think if we do get him over the line, he will score more for us. But I get the concern, Eugene. You know, in an ideal world, you'd want to sell Richarlison, get another striker in who can really compete with Solanke. But I just don't think the club are going to do that just yet, because one, they seem adamant on keeping Richarlison, which I don't get, but also I don't think that they were going to sign another marquee number 9 because they want to give Solanke another year. He's only had 12 months, right? So that's sort of where I am. I'm happy with the signing of Savinho, but I echo all of the concerns that everyone has as well.
Brad, do you see with the fitness of both our number 9s, do you see Frank playing, because he likes Johnson and he's a good finisher, he's proved me wrong. Do you see him playing Johnson through the middle and Kudus? Because Kudus said that he played a bit deeper when he went through the middle. Like if Kudus was going to play as a 10, it wouldn't be as more of a playmaker number 10. It'd be more of that bee buzzing around the penalty area type number 10.
I think Johnson. I've always said that Johnson's an inside forward and not a winger. I don't think Thomas Frank has really played him there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he has in pre-season. But yeah, I see him more of that sort of role because he knows to be in the right position at the right time, which is what you need to be a striker. I think the whole season, a lot of it will rely on how fit Solanke stays, because I don't think we can rely on Richarlison staying fit. I mean, to be fair, if both of those stayed fit and had a bit of form, well, then maybe they might be the goal scorers we need. But if you look at our team at the moment, what I was saying earlier about Eriksen, Dele Alli, Son and Kane, well, maybe Solanke, maybe Maddison, or obviously not this season. If we bought Eze, maybe Eze. Maybe it is the players that are going to score us those 20-odd goals a season. But, yeah, be interested to see what team he puts out tomorrow, because this is the first sort of proper game, isn't it, that we've had?
Yeah, we'll do a prediction to line up later.
Yeah.
Eugene. Go on, Karen.
But, yeah, no, I think... we haven't spoke about buying a striker. I've got friends, well, you know them, Martin and Steve, that every week say buy a striker. But I think what they're looking on is the fact that you could argue we've already got 2 strikers, Richarlison and Solanke, both international footballers effectively. But yeah, no, I do fear our lack of goals at the moment. But as you say, you might find as the season goes on, someone steps up and does the job. I mean, no one really thought that Johnson would be scoring 20-odd goals last season, and he cropped up with very important goals, including the one in the final. So,
I think he got 18, and Solanke got 15 in all competitions. So it wasn't bad for his first season.
When you think of it, no.
And he had time out injured as well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad, really, whether you like the plan. Eugene, we've got what we don't know. We've got a lot of permutations in the front three we can try, but as you've alluded to, we don't know if that's going to produce goals or not. I mean, I even see in some games, especially away games, if Kudus is in the middle at any stage, I can see Decky on the right wing when he's back in November time, especially because he holds the ball up well and he's a very good out ball in away games as well. But he may earn his place. But Frank likes a hard-working number 10. Even if Maddison was fit and Kulu's fit and they're in form, you look at Damsgaard at Brentford, works his socks off, right? So you don't get that from Maddison. You get quality. I like Maddison, don't get me wrong. You may never see him again, though.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm not the biggest fan of Maddison. And I agree. I was actually thinking for tomorrow's game, playing Kudus at the 10 and Johnson on the right, because at least Johnson, even though he doesn't do much, but he does score goals. And I just don't see us scoring any other way, unfortunately, right now. But I mean, if Savinho comes in, we do have some options, but just I cannot have another year of watching Richarlison play. I just can't do it. He's one of the worst strikers I've seen play for us. Just can't hold the ball up, no touch, super wasteful. Solanke, I feel like, is gonna have a better year if he gets better service. But us playing on 4 fronts, we need somebody else. So I know Sablain is saying that Savinho is going to is going to offer assists, which is fine. Savinho and Kudus on the wings.
Right, because at West Ham, Matey from Hull, they bought from Hull, played for England. I forget the winger converted. Jay, what's his name? Bought him from West. They bought him from Hull, the winger. Is it
Bowen?
Bowen.
Sorry? Bowen, yeah.
Yeah.
So Savino will be able to play on the right hand side. Plus, he wants Champions League football. I'm going to assume we've got him. I might be convinced till I see more reports on it. But so then Kudus then has got to move. So you could find Kudus on the left.
No, that might work. I mean, Kudus at the 10 might get more freedom and more space to roam, which is fine. I'm not sure if he prefers to be on the right or the 10, but I mean, we all know if it's Savinho, Kudus, and Eze, that's going to make, for me, all the difference in the world. Then I can see Solanke having a better year. If it's just Savinho and Kudus, we're still short because Sar at the 10 is not a solution for me. He's not a passer, so we need a 10. And if that's the case, then Savinho, that would be a good signing.
Depends on your perception of a 10. You had Ericsson as a 10. You had Dele Alli as a 10. You had Bobby Firmino as a 10. They're all different. I mean, you could not have a 10, Connor, yeah, and have like Kudus as a ball carrying 8 that goes at defences.
Yeah, maybe. I think if you have that though, you need to have a really good passing, a deep lying style playmaker, which we don't particularly have. Paulinho is a sort of destroyer type 6, isn't he? A dual winning machine, and then you've got Bentancur, who he's not a bad passer, but I don't think he's not a Modric type, is he? Who used to sit a bit deeper and be that, or certainly when he went to Real Madrid and be that like deep line playmaker. And I think that's my worry if you've got a Kudus in the as you just described, or even a Kulusevski in the 10. They don't have that much goal. They're not great passers. I think Eze's a little bit better than they are at passing, but even he is a bit of a dribbly type 10.
Yeah.
But I think, with me, I think Eze's just a fantastic player, and I want
Yeah,
fantastic
he's a ball
players
carrier,
that are
though.
gonna get
Again,
you
he's a
obviously.
ball carrier, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is.
And you suddenly go, I mean, we'll see, right? Tomorrow night's front three behind the striker, hopefully Solanke plays not with Richarlison, is going to be probably Sarr in the 10, because I think he'll go a bit more defensive, and Johnson and Kudus maybe, or maybe Odebert, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then you compare that to say if you do get Savinho and Eze over the line, and that three becomes Kudus, Eze, Savinho, it's just night and day in terms of that fear factor that you're going to put into teams. And so, this is why I think we're all desperate for these deals to finally get over the line.
Brad, I actually think Paulina is a fantastic signing. He is a game changer. He won't be able to play every game, but then you might not need him so much against lesser teams once everyone starts to settle down a bit. But Bentancur, right? I've always been a big fan of his. Not when he was told to do the defensive roles. He hasn't been bad at it. We won a trophy at the end of the day in the last 5 games of the season. So I ain't knocking him from that. And he seems to have come back from that ACL okay now. And I thought Bentancur was at his best. Remember when he was scoring at Chelsea, when he was getting forward and he would drag us up the field? And that's what I want to see out of my Bentancur. I want you dragging us up the field. And I think Paulina will release him to be able to do that. But I don't know if Frank tends to play a narrow midfield pivot, though.
I like the signing of Paulinho for the very fact that, I mean, our problem last season was we conceded too many goals. And I think if you've got Paulinho there, you've got that extra person that can sort of sit there if the 2 fullbacks go forward. Or I've noticed that it's been very similar to Mourinho, isn't it? One forward back will go forward and the other one sits. But I like Paulinho. I think we've got the advantage that he was very good in the Premier League with Fulham. Might take him a while to get back to that sort of form again. But again, I go back to the Pochettino teams. You had that with the Tottenham teams. I mean, Pochettino moved Eric Dyer to a defensive midfielder. And we all laugh at Eric Dyer now, but I think he had a really good season in that role. And he was able to drop back and defend more when he needed to. So I think that will give us a lot more stability and allow players to go forward. And I agree. I don't think Bentancur is that number 6 that we've been looking for. I think maybe Gray could be in years to come. I'd like to see him maybe in the League Cup or that, playing that position. I think he's a very good footballer that can tackle and can carry the ball as well. But yeah, we'll see. Be interested, Paulino. We'll talk about it later, but I wonder if he'll throw him right in for tomorrow.
Eugene, what's your take on Paulinho?
Sorry, I'm just looking. There's a Bomba. Donnarumma agrees personal terms with Man City. That's interesting.
They
Which
wanted
is-
50 mil, so it looks like
Yeah.
we're getting, that looks definite because they want the money, especially if they're going to go for Rodrigo as well. They may not this Swiss window, but
It's just it's strange to me because he's not
What we
Pep's type of a keeper. He can play with his feet, but interesting. But sorry, back to your question about Paulinho. I do like him. Against Byron, he looked slow. I'm sure it was his first game. He's not match fit. So a concept of Paulinho, like I liked him at Fulham. He's a destroyer. Other than the fouls and the yellow cards and red cards, he's a good player. My only concern with him is whether he still has his legs, as we saw with Casemiro and United. He was the very first season for Man U, he was really good. Next season, his legs were gone. So if Paulinho still has his legs, he's going to do well for us. And as you said, we don't need him in every game. We just need him against big teams who are going to attack us. But against the Burnleys, against the teams that, they're going to play low block, Bentancur can be that guy at the 6, since we don't have to go defensive.
Connor, Frank is going to have to utilise the squad. We know he's the professor. I'm sure he'll do well, but he hasn't been used to playing a game every 3 days, with Brentford. So he's going to, he had a bit of European football with Bromby, but that's going back, and I don't think they got through the qualifying games then. But he's going to have to juggle his forces. And this is where we'll be judging him. What's your take on him every 3 games? You think he'd be okay?
He's got to be. It's a different challenge for him for sure. And I think the thing is with Frank, I think everyone's in agreement. He is a proper coach, right? And certainly more of a coach than Ange was. And when you get less time on the training pitch to coach, when you've got that quick turnaround in games, and I remember Conte making the point about that, and why Conte often struggled in Europe, I think, was because he didn't get that full week between to really drill into the players. Obviously he was even more systematic than Frank is, I think, in terms of that drilling into the players. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. We don't know. Is that because as you say, the Bromby example is and it's different, right? Clearly to the. Yeah. I think this is why we, I suppose, are disappointed with the transfer window so far, not in terms of the actual players that come in, but just the number of top.
And as Eugene, I think you alluded to earlier, it's a question of they're not having a pre-season with us, even if they're match fit and they're coming from their teams.
Exactly. So that's what's disappointing for me. But look, I was a big advocate of the Frank appointment beforehand. I think he's definitely earned his chance to have this chance at a big club that's in the Champions League. He's done an outstanding job at Brentford. I think people forget that it wasn't that long ago. 26, 27 years ago, Brentford were in the full tier of English football, right? And, under Frank, and I know there's a lot of other stuff in terms of the ownership and everything else at Brentford, but under Frank, they've become this established Premier League team. So he did an outstanding job. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to see how he does, but I just want, and I feel like we have this conversation every window, I want the ownership to give him the best chance of success and give him the tools to compete on all fronts. And unfortunately, we're not quite there yet, but let's see what happens between now and the end of the window.
He's good with the PR, Brad, isn't he, Frank?
Oh yeah. Well, he was a teacher, wasn't he? Human relations, that sort of thing. So yeah, I think he's going to have that sort of what you call it in the dressing room, or that I think Postecoglou had, that the players sort of looked up to him, and he could handle the players. I think it was it before? I think after Klopp left, was he linked with Liverpool for a while?
Yeah, he was.
I think so. A lot, he's very well thought of.
And United as well.
Yeah, United. Yeah. So, and the other thing I like about him at the moment, and it's obviously a honeymoon period at the moment, but the thing I like about him is he seems to be absolutely thrilled about the job, because they all say to him, is this a big challenge for you, blah, blah, blah. And he says, no, it's yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want this sort of thing. I want to test myself. It's not, and he sort of doesn't seem to feel that pressure, not at the moment anyway, because he's just really just looking forward to it. So yeah, I've been quite impressed by what he said in press conferences. I mean, I probably would have said that about the last 3 or 4 managers as well, but yeah, so far so good anyway. But yeah, I think after no matter what he thought about Postecoglou tactically, I think man management skills was particularly brilliant in how he got us over the line in that Europa League. So it was always going to be a very hard act to follow to try and keep that momentum with the players, and I think he's done that. I think Thomas Frank is starting to do that, and I think they're starting to think, hey, this guy, knows what he's talking about.
You a fan, Eugene?
I am. I mean, to be honest, and I think, you and I talked about it before. Frank wasn't my first choice, and it's nothing against him being an excellent coach. It was more what club was trying to signal by bringing Frank in. My concern was that they were signaling that they wanted a coach to work with the youngsters, and there would not be much investment in terms of the starters and the top, echelon players that we need. And they just wanted a coach to coach young players, which was an issue for me, right? I wanted Glasner. I wanted a proven manager who won in Europe and who won domestically. So now, if Frank does get Savinho and Eze, then I'm very happy to be wrong. Then I'll say, you know what? Then the board is backing Frank and giving him tools that other managers did not get, or not enough. So again, there's no argument, there's no doubt that Frank is a good coach. And the big thing for me is his coaching staff is top notch, right? The set piece coach, everybody who he brought in, it's a top notch staff. So if he does get the players that he's asking for, and if we do get some outgoings, out, I'll be happy and I'll say I was wrong about the board.
But I mean, he sorry.
Yeah.
He turned, going back to Watkins, I think Ben Rama. Then you had the other guy whose name escapes me. Then you got Wissa, and that he's turned them into top players. No one really knew them, and they weren't exactly young kids. So yeah, I know what you're saying, but I think he has got that ability, or certainly so far anyway, to do that. And with Brentford, I mean, his first remit taking over the Brentford job was to get him in the Premier League, and he did that. And of course, his second remit would be to keep them in the Premier League, and he's done that really successfully.
Sure. But my argument, Brad, is I'm not arguing with you. He is a great coach. However, Brentford and we are in a different category.
Oh, yeah.
For us, we got lucky that we made Champions League, and honestly, I don't know the next time we'll make Champions League. So we need to take advantage of this opportunity, right? So if Frank comes in and the strategy is going to be, what he had at Brentford, have some players and coach them up. For me, that's an issue because we're not taking advantage of the opportunity of the Champions League. And again, I don't know next time we're going to be there. So I hope I'm wrong. And again, if Savinho comes in, Eze comes in, then I was wrong, and I'm very happy to be wrong. And I do feel like he's going to do a great job coaching. I just want the board to be serious about backing a manager that they selected.
I think I read a tweet tonight. I can't remember who it was. One of the IKN in the nose saying that the word is that ENIC has actually put some money into the club, and that we have got money to spend. I mean, I don't think we're a poor club anyway.
Connor can give us the breakdown of funds.
I mean, funds. I mean, we probably hear that every season. It's the summer window is going to be the window when we change.
Yeah, you could get deals done on the money that we got from the Europa League. They estimate about 120 million. We're going to get at least 80 million for the lower rounds of the Champions League, right? The only difference is when it comes to doing deals, if it's like an Eze one and they want all the money up, although we heard a rumour of 320 mil payments, if you've got to pay all the money up and you haven't got it, that's a much more expensive deal because you've got to pay the interest on that money when you go and borrow it, right? And then you got the wages, and suddenly the deal, it's a lot dearer than the fans think it actually is, you know.
Yeah,
But-
I'm actually stuck between two places. When I first saw that first interview with Daniel Levy and Vinny, and I think I said it on your show, I thought, oh, this is great. He's actually gone on film saying we want to win the Premier League and the Champions League, and I thought to myself, maybe there is some investment coming into the club that we don't know about. Now I'm sort of going over to the stage of, because he also did the thing with Gary Neville, didn't he, as well? And now I'm sort of veering towards maybe this is just a publicity thing, because he took a lot of flack last season with the change for Tottenham protests. So maybe it's like, oh, we better put you out there, Daniel. Just let's increase your profile a bit, say the right things, and so maybe it might be that. So I'm stuck between those two places at the moment.
Yeah,
Connor,
I mean,
we-
I can give you my view
Yeah.
on those if that's all right, Adrian. I mean,
Go on.
I think I also saw the same thing, and it was Sammy Mockbell also put something, who's from the BBC, said, made a point that ENIC have injected some cash. I mean, if they have, they normally do that by basically getting a bigger share in return of the football club, and they will have to disclose that within a month of doing it on Company's House. So we'll find out soon, depending on what the timing was of that. I think on the investment point, I mean, the club themselves, to be fair, not with this set of accounts, but with a set of accounts before, they openly said they were looking for investment, right? When they set out the accounts, it was in Levy's chairman's statement. They'd engaged Rothschild to look for investment. So, touch wood, that is coming at some point, because I think we can all agree that for some of the goods that ENIC have done off the pitch in terms of increasing revenues and diversifying revenues, I think we as fans have not necessarily seen the benefit of that just yet, and they as owners will definitely see the benefit of that when they come to sell. So I think we're all on that page of, now and again it would be nice to see them put in a bit more of their own money to accelerate.
I know that Charlton's on the board and he's close with Vivienne Lewis, the daughter, and so there has been changes. And Donna Cullen wanted to leave last year, not this year. So Daniel's obviously asked her to stay on for one more year, which she did, even though she was at the game. And I think she was at Bayern. My take on this, just reading between the lines, and I'm not a financial wizard, right? I actually believe we're close to a naming rights deal, but I'm not excited about that. Even if it was 500 mil over 25 years at 25 million a year or whatever it is, right? That's only paying the interest on the stadium debt. And sort of that 25 mil is just interest on the stadium debt. That's why I believe we've got, I'm smelling investment even from America or the Saudis around the 200 to 300 mil mark, plus a naming rights deal. I think it's both. And we've got money. We're not breaking PSR. And we've earned money from last year. All right, we didn't get the Champions League money. We missed that in that year of accounts, and we're now in the Champions League, which guarantees us X amount of money. So if you've got orders on your books, if you need to borrow money, which Levy is averse to, and I'm not against it, you can go to the bank and say, look, we've got this money coming, I want that. But he did very well with the stadium to get them interest rates that low. 2.75 was the max. I think some of the loans were down to about 1.5% and all that at that time. You wouldn't get that now, right?
No. I mean, to your point, they've got a £50 million revolving facility with HSBC that they can draw on if they need to find cash for transfers. And look, in the last 3 years, the club has found £125 million of cash for infrastructure projects. So there's ways that they can find cash if they need to. So I think there's absolutely no.
And we don't know, because all when they do the reports, when I last looked at a finance report, which was about 2 ago, and went through all them pages, a lot of them, I think there was then 14 companies out of Lily Whitehouse that were Spurs related. If they're Spurs related, then any money they make, I think 2 of them weren't trading. They were just set up companies to do things, and maybe they're trading now. I don't know. The main 2 companies are Tottenham Hotspur Limited and the original Spurs company, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club and Atletico Company.
I remember that,
right? That's that because that company holds the players' registration and takes the advertising revenue. Tottenham Hotspur Limited is the one that owns the stadium, so it takes the revenue for that. And obviously, you'll have. It's like lots of business. The Spurs shop will have separate accounts as well. They'll all have separate accounts. Or the training ground, if it suits them for tax purposes. The only time it probably make money is when England, Italy, and Brazil have stayed there. You know, might make some money then. Other than then, that might suit them. It doesn't make money. You know, so I mean, that's what I say. I'm not a financial expert. I can see how these things are good, but back to the team and Frank, Connor. I mean, like as a fan, I mean, last season our midfield was pants and our strike was pants, right? And we all raved about our defence, but we're still letting a lot of goals. But we know the players are better than that, right? So I think what most fans want to see of Frank, obviously they'd love a domestic trophy because we're not winning the Champions League or the Premier League, that's for sure, right? Right. So, but 6 games to win the FA Cup, 7 to win the League Cup because you got a 2-legged semi-final. They're achievable. One of them's achievable, if not both. Right? You could freak it. But what we want to see prior to that is, I want to see what I wanted to see in the last 10 games when the players came back under Ange. And I wanted to see growth and progress, and I didn't see that. See it in the games in Europe, the last 5 games. You know, when we won away to Brentford, great defensive game, stanked the place out of West Ham, and then we won them 3 games away in Europe. You know, Romero was outstanding in Europe, and so yeah, growth and progress and fluidity and cohesion. You know, so as we don't look so disjointed and all over the place. I mean, what are you looking for? Is it too much?
I think for me it's look, I think with the domestic cup runs, it somewhat depends on what draw you get. You know, if you get Liverpool away in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, then you know you're more than likely going to go out, right? But if we get a good run, you know, let's have a go. To your point, we're not going to clearly not going to win the Champions League, but I want to see us get as far as possible in that. I think we're not going to finish in the top 8 of the table, but we should finish in the next. And then it depends who you get in that sort of qualifying knockout round after that. So we'll see. I think with the league, you know, we're not going to finish 17th next year because that was a bit of a freak season. There was a lot of injuries. We've got a manager that's going to set the team. We're not going to lose 22 league games next year, which I think will be an improvement for all of us match-going fans and all fans who watch it on the TV. I mean, I was getting pretty despondent by the end, I have to say, with the league games. You're turning up, you know, every other week at the Tottenham Stadium, and you're like, we're going to lose today. And I hadn't felt like that as a Spurs fan for some time, you know, where your expectation was that you were going to lose rather than, you know, necessarily losing. But it's all about, I think you nailed it. You just want to see it going like that, right? So I don't, you know, I've got a suspicion, and I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I've got a suspicion we're not going to start anywhere near as fast as we started, say, under Ange, when we had that 10-game spell that was, you know, brilliant.
Still a record, 8 wins and 2 draws. It's still a record.
Yeah. And then it went that way, right? Whereas I think with Frank, a bit like Poch, right? If you remember when Poch started at Tottenham, and it was the same when he started at Chelsea, actually. Took a while because he's a coach and he's getting across, you know, something a bit different. It takes a while for that to work its way through to the team, I think. And so I suspect what I want to see, league finish is obviously important. I'd love to see us finish in the European position so that we'll get another crack at a European competition the year after. But ultimately what I want to see is towards the end of the season, am I seeing progress? Am I seeing that the team is improving? And it's somewhat, to be honest, my expectation somewhat depends on what we end up doing in the rest of this transfer window. If we get Savino and Eze over the line, then I would say, look, I expect him to finish in the European places, not necessarily Champions League, but the European places. If he doesn't get that, I think, you know, Frank could be a magician, but he's got his, you know, he's got his hands tied behind his back a little bit.
We'll come on to the European campaign later because I've got the charts, the pots up and everything else. But Eugene, I mean, I suppose domestic trophies, we want to see growth and progress. I think our best chance, as Connor alluded to, is we're going to meet these big teams. We need to meet them when they've got a big game in Europe. And if we're out of the Champions League by then we've got a bet. They'll have one eye on the Champions League while we'll have one eye on the domestic trophy. I think because it's not like years ago, Brad, is it, when we used to get fined for playing weakened teams when we winning FA trophies. You remember that, right? Now, with these big squads, all the top clubs, they're like trophy pigs. They're greedy for them, Eugene, aren't they? You know, it's
I mean, I'd rather play a big team early, because then they might rest, the players. So if we have to face Liverpool, I'd rather play Liverpool in the first rounds rather than semifinal, because semifinal they're gonna have a strong team. In the early rounds, they might have their B team playing, so that might be our only chance for a trophy.
Although Villa, not Villa, sorry, Crystal Palace, with some very good coaching, beat Villa in the semi-final and Man City in the final. So, and then, although it was on penalties, beat Liverpool in the Charity Shield. So, it is. And this is why I think the season will go like that, and then we get to the FA Cup, and hopefully we have the good cup run, and we just sort of go up to the end of the season.
Oh,
Charity Shield.
Sorry, go on, Karen.
No, I'm saying a Charity Shield is more of an exhibition. So
it's not really.
An FA Cup.
I don't think it should have been classed as a trophy. So
right, exactly. I mean,
it's just pride. I mean, tomorrow's game, it's pride really as well. We don't want to get
you can't really describe the Super Cup as a trophy, really, is it? I mean, it's not.
No. It's just banter if we win it, though, because we
exactly. Yeah. It's like the friendly against Arsenal. It's only a friendly unless we win it.
I mean, it might not be a big trophy, but the importance is that everybody's going to be watching, right?
Oh yeah,
We're playing the best team in Europe, so even though you can say it's a semi-exhibition game, but everybody's going to be watching the game.
Yeah, or if we win, I'm getting a T-shirt. If we win, I'm getting the winner's T-shirt.
But we can say, even the players, right? We can say, hey, we did well against PSG, which is not an easy task. So that's going to be, I don't expect us to do really well, but if we do, that's a big statement for, potentially what's coming up this season for us. As Connor said, unfortunately, and that's my issue, that we didn't bring in the players early, which we do every window. I think the difference between 5th, 6th, and 4th could be a couple of points, and us not bringing anybody in, yet. That might be the difference. We might drop some points against Burnley or some other teams, and those points might cost us at the end of the season. So it would be great to bring in, Savinho and Eze, but not bring them early on to have, them with the squad during the preseason. That's going to cost us potentially.
You wonder how much the Morgan Gibbs White thing has lost us time in this transfer window, because that seemed to drag on forever, and we weren't linked with any other player during that.
Yeah, but to me, that's not an excuse, Brad, because you can have more than one recruitment team. You can still
I'm not.
Stuff like that.
But that's what I'm saying. I think we spent too much time on it.
Yeah. So from the beginning of the season, when Ange was there last season, right? What were our recruitment team doing? Nothing all season until we get around the transfer window. You've got to be compiling lists, going to CAA base or any of the agencies that we contribute money to give us lists of players that we're studying. We're going through all the data analysis, compiling lists of players, and then okay, right, we're seeing how we go through the season with injuries and all that, because that would have played a big part in the recruitment teams thinking, shit, I mean, there's recently been linking us with centre backs. I mean, this is why I hate the transfer. I throw my arms up in the air in exasperation, even if it is Guay or Araujo, or if it's Scalvini from Milan or one of them. We don't need a centre back, right? It's not a priority. We're talking about sending Vaskovic out on loan. We don't need a centre back. It's not a priority. You could say we'd need one if we'd filled spots in front of a centre back, but we don't need one. And then people saying to me, well, we might play 3 at the back. We're not playing 3 at the back, right? It's not happening. And the reason it's not happening, Frank does not play 4 pre-season games in a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 if he's going to play 3 at the back. He may tweak it in games when things are going wrong and switch to a back 3, but that's not a plan B. But he's not going to. So all talk. I mean, if we do get a centre back, I mean, Mark Guay would be cheap. Liverpool in for him, so they'll probably get him because Konate's going and things like that. But he would be a good buy and he would be cheap because he's down to the last year of his contract, So that would be a good deal. But there's we don't need one. But moving on, before we go up a tangent, let's move on to this guy. I'll find the banner. So those of you who arrived late, this is the latest rumour we've heard today. Don't take it as gospel, right? This is a rumour. If it's this money we pay, just pay it and go. And now that is some mentioned, if it is true, why the hassle getting the 68 million release calls on this guy? Because originally it was, Paris said, I want all the money up front. And then as he's coming down to the last 2 years of his contract, and then suddenly there was, whether it's true or not, he'll accept 320 million payments for it, right? With the add-on clauses on top. So, Connor, what's your take on this?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one for me, the Eze one, because you know, if you read the rumours with Arsenal as well, obviously they haven't bit the bullet on it either, having been linked with him for a while. Obviously, we don't know. There's rumours, as you say, about what the payment terms look like with a release clause, but you know, there's a lot of reports that clubs are not necessarily valuing him at 68 million, including add-ons. Whereas for me, I mean, I think Eze's outstanding, and when I look at some of the other players that have been signed in this window, and you know, it seems like everyone is 50 to 60 million these days. So to me, Eze is absolutely worth 60 plus 8 in add-ons.
And Arsenal, for those you worried, they've spent 192 million in this window.
Well, that's it.
They want it to fill other priorities. Apparently they want to get rid of Trossard and loads of others now, or something. Like Nielsen, whatever. So Reece Nielsen. So there's that factor. They're not going to sell players quickly now. We're right near the season starting.
Well, that's it. And I think the difference with Arsenal, to be fair, and us is, you know, they actually have been running things a little bit tighter in terms of cash. I mean, last year the Cronkies had to put in 80 million of their own money to make sure that they stayed positive from a cash flow perspective. So I suspect that there is a bit of a, obviously they're making loads of money now because they're consistently getting Champions League football. But, you know, I think for them it is a matter of, to your point, the amount they've spent, they need to get some heads out the door before they bring Eze in. Now, this is why it's of utmost importance for Tottenham, if the player is keen on the move, which it sounds like he is, to make it happen. Just go for it. You know, we need, before you allow that Arsenal to come back in for it. You know, I think what we were talking earlier about Savio and what the price is. I mean, what is the difference really between 60 million and 68 million? Or whatever we're going to offer versus what Eze's
Especially
release
if
clause
it's
is.
true what we've paid for Slovenia, right? If we have paid nearly 65 million with add-ons or whatever it is, I think it should have been I think he was worth 55 million with 5 million add-ons. That I thought about that would be right. Okay, they know we're desperate. We've had to cough up. Well, fair enough, you know.
Yeah.
And the only reason I can think of leaving the Eze deal later is want to get the winger in first. Because if you should foul on Eze, then you're going to go for El Canusi at Leicester, or you're going to go for Paqueta at West Ham, or you're not going to get Nico Paz. It's too complex a deal to do. Where is it, Como? Because he's half owned by Real Madrid, or they can buy him back. So, yeah, Eze, I'm surprised even the likes of Man City and Liverpool and Newcastle or even Villa haven't come in for him. It must be, like you say, the valuation, because he's down to... And he's got no sell-on value. If you're going to buy him, you're keeping him for the rest of his career, basically. It's 27, 28?
27, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see, isn't it? You know, for us now,
if there's ever a player out that unites the majority of the fan base, 80% or more, it's Eze, isn't it, Eugene?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've been talking about him for 2 years at least. And yeah, just our whole strategy makes no sense. We overpaid for Johnson by 10 million at least, right? Well, we got him for 55. But we're not willing to overpay a bit for somebody who's a difference maker. I mean, we put in 70 million for Zabarny, if the reports are true, which is mental to me since we don't need a starting center back. So if that money is available and we're willing to put in 70 million for Zabarny, like, you know, haggling over 5 million for Eze,
I don't believe we're in for it.
Doesn't make sense, especially if we can pay in 3 installments. So just bring him in, you know.
It might be the player though. I mean, he might have been hoping for an Arsenal move. Apparently, someone said he's an Arsenal fan, but you're a professional person. You go to work.
Is that Arsenal? Wasn't he? Is that Arsenal? They let him go. Maybe he holds a grudge.
I mean, but
Well,
Arsenal's in trouble too, as you said. They have to sell.
They're not short in the 10 position. You've got Havertz there. You've got Odegaard. You know, and then like on the left, they've got Martinelli, and then they've got, and obviously you've got Saka on the other side.
I mean, that might be the thing for us, Adrian, to be fair, that we can guarantee him that number 10 position as well. That is that, you know, he will absolutely, and it's a World Cup year.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
He wants to play. So, like, you know, there's, I mean, if I was talking, you know, if I was involved in these conversations with Eze's agent at the moment, the point I'd be making is like, well, look, Arsenal haven't pulled their finger out. You know, how much can they really want you? We want to make you our star man. We're going to pay, you know, you're going to become the highest wages at the club. You're going to play every week.
You make a good point, because like they went and got Madueke off of Chelsea.
Exactly.
Well, do you take Madueke, our ex-player, our ex-academy player, went to Holland and went to Chelsea, or do you take? I mean, I don't get it. It's a no-brainer. Madueke is a good player on the right. You know, he's a good player. I mean, developed.
Isn't Eze's agents got a box at Tottenham or something? There's a connection there, isn't there? I think.
Yeah,
no, they're with the CAA base agents. Yeah, like a lot of our players are, and this is where you don't get like that wanker. I don't know if he's still Dragison's agent, like Florin Manea or whatever his name is. Yeah, always jogging off, thinking like Dragison's going to go and play for Real Madrid or Barcelona or something. And it's like every other week he wants to sell him to get his commission or something. Well, agencies don't act that way because it's bad for business. If you're gobbing off all the time, clubs are going to think, well, fuck you, right? We expect a bit of discretion when we're doing deals. You know, you're still going to get your cut, right? So keep it quiet. And Lange is quite quiet. Langer, it's not Lange, it's Langer. He's quite quiet about the way he goes about his business, because we weren't even thinking about Silvino, were we? A week or two ago,
suddenly was a surprise, wasn't it?
You wouldn't dream of getting a player off of Man City. You know, another thing is the fact that Levy has put the Premier League under a lot of pressure with these charges against Man City as well. And the last time we dealt with them was when we sold Kyle Walker in 2017. So the last time we had any dealings with them. So
let's be honest.
The other thing comes into this is the fact that Palace would have probably budgeted for the Europa League, and now they're in the Conference League, which I think is probably a lot less money. So they might need the money. So, you know, I'm not saying that Tottenham should go in there and, you know, offer a small amount.
There's a big stitch up with the multi-club ownership, and Connor will probably know about because Dexter's involved with Marinakis as well.
Yep.
And that's with Leon. And so Palace fucked up, right? On the ownership, right? Multi-ownership. They screwed up on that. So technically they broke the rules. I think it's wrong as Spurs fans. I think we'd love to have seen them in the Europa League, you know, but it's just, well, they've been done on a technicality. It's not justice for me on that. That's not justice.
No, it's bollocks. I mean, it's, you know, I think the problem is this is the sham of it all by putting your shares in a blind trust where you're still actively involved behind the scenes, but it appears, you know, on paperwork that you're not. You can avoid these things when we do know that there is all sorts going on. I mean, but Textor didn't do that because he was actively trying to sell, because of the fact that he was frustrated that he couldn't get majority decision making and ownership of Palace, and it's, you know, now perversely they're the ones that suffer, and Textor's now left Palace, and now by all accounts is getting back into bed with Marinakis on a new multi-club ownership potentially, and I mean the whole thing stinks, doesn't it? And
it does stink, as if like he's sweetened Palace not to push it too much, even though they lost it. Like, you know,
exactly. You know, I was saying to my dad
you've done it. I mean, Silvino come from one of their feeder clubs, basically. He came from them to them. I think they might have paid 30 mil for him. I know when the club, I forget the club that the owner he come from, he cost them about 8 mil or something.
Remember that deal we signed with Real Madrid years ago? That really worked, didn't it?
Yeah. But this is multi-ownership. and they're all getting into it because they act like feeder clubs, and you get these players cheap, promise them money later. Like if you, for example, if you couldn't go and afford to buy a player for 40 mil under FFP, you could crookedly go at that club and say, well, look, we only got about an 8 mil allowance. Give it to us for 8 mil allowance, and we will sweeten you later. Do something later. You've had quite a few clubs now said, look, we'll have to take the player on loan now because we're at the end of we've got to wait till the end of the financial year before we can now not break the rules and get the player in. And there's a lot, but I understand those deals. They're a bit fair. They're fair enough, I think, So Eze, I think we'll see if this. I think we want it to get. My instinct tells me we want it to get Silvino in first, because Eze might be agreed. Might already be agreed, because if he wants to get in an England squad for the World Cup, he needs to be at Spurs, basically.
And he's so
unveil
much
them at the same time. Unveil them together.
Yeah.
He's so much a Spurs player. If you look back for our players.
And if that fee is true for Silvino with the add-ons, even if it's 10 mil less, even if it totals at 55 mil, right? Don't tell me you can't go and then pay the 68 with the add-ons to Eze, and get him in. I wanted him at the beginning of last season with Dorgu, but Dorgu, the left back, went to Man United. But I didn't really follow him after that. I thought, fuck you.
I've wanted Eze since he's at QPR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 27 is not old for number 10.
No,
it's not like a winger who at 30, 31, 32 loses the legs and or
Harold Madison.
Number 10s can play until 31, 32. So on a 5-year deal, 5-year deal is gonna be a good deal for us, and then we can sell them on for 20, 30 million, and that's not going to be an issue. Because we've been trying to buy in order to sell, but who was the last player we made money on? Bergwijn. We cannot sell.
Probably Bale, Gareth Bale.
I think Wimmer or Bergwijn a little bit. That's it. So our strategy hasn't been
successful. For Eriksen in
so.
January, and he only had 6 months left on his contract. So that was a good deal to Milan, right?
Yeah.
Right. Before we move on, we've still got quite a bit to get through. We're on the hour marks, using my time to plug the channel. We've got 137 of you viewing us on various platforms, which is excellent. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, in the bottom right-hand corner, we can't see it, but you'll see the red YouTube subscribe button. Please subscribe to the channel. It helps the algorithm, helps them grow. We've only been going a year, but we've been doing quite well, So, our shows go out Tuesdays at 10 o'clock, Fridays at 10 o'clock. Druzilla hosts the Tuesday show. I host. Druzilla hosts the Friday show. I do the Tuesday show. And I'll be doing them with Tom. We'll be sharing responsibility when I'm at the Champions League games, depending on whether the games are on a Tuesday or Wednesday. Most of the shows will still go out Tuesday, I think, if we're previewing the games. And Sunday, EMF hosts and I co-host with him. He gets his guests on. Right? All the admins, they get their own guests on. And actually, I haven't got the ticker up here, which is bad of me, because I'll put it up now. You can find us down here, guys, with this revolving ticker. We do have a Facebook group with 14,500 members. We've got a page with 302 that the videos go out there on Facebook as well. The videos go out, and you can find us on XCOM in this ticker below as well, where obviously quite a few are probably viewing us on XCOM at the present time. With that, like we always do, is thank everyone in the chat. Thank all of you on various platforms. Get any questions in. We will try and answer them. Try and keep them relevant to our conversation, though, because if you're off tangent, it makes it a bit more difficult for us. So, thanks again to everyone, and back to the banners. Just scroll down.
It's like Jacob Ramsby's going to Newcastle.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah. His stats aren't bad, but when I've watched, I'm an eye test person more on the stats, but when I've watched him, I thought, you don't exactly you don't do nothing for me. You know what I mean? He's a good player.
He's not our
I wouldn't. I didn't particularly want us to get him. When we were linked. So I'm happy he's going there. He's just a decent, average player, isn't he?
Let's talk about this guy, because this guy I know little about. Ian asked me Sunday, I still don't know anything about this guy, but he's been in the news lately. What do you guys, any of you know about El Canusi at Leicester City?
No, nothing at all.
10.
A little bit.
Only what I've read. Only what I've read.
I know he's Moroccan, right? And that's about
Yeah.
it. I don't think I think he scored against. I can't remember when we played Leicester.
Scored
though.
against
I can't
us.
remember.
Well, most
I wanna
people
remember that
scored
game,
against
'cause
us,
that was
didn't they?
pretty horrific. Yeah, I
Like
think with
most
El
of last season's run
Canoes.
games were.
Well, yeah. I think with El Canoes, my worry was that was going to. I can see a situation where we get gazumped by Arsenal on Eze, and then El Canoes is is the one we sign. It feels like a Tottenham deal, doesn't it? A release clause from a team that got relegated, and it's a market opportunity, a young and up and coming talent with potential. I mean, I think he's, what I did see of him, all jokes aside, I think he's decent, but I think, the other club that's interested in him is Leeds. And I think that's the type of club he should be going to, is Leeds. He's Premier League, up and coming talent.
I always look at that as well. What you're saying about that, who else is in for him? I think that tells you the sort of what the player is.
As a squad option, I wouldn't mind him because I've seen a bit of him. He's decent, has potential. But if he's our starting number 10 next season, we have big problems. So,
Connor, he's the sort of player you have a punt on when you've done all your business, really, isn't it? Then you don't mind taking a punt. If you satisfied us, if you get us, I mean, look, even the window as it stands, to sign off on Danso, forget about Kota Takai, who's wounded, the centre-back, Japanese. But we signed off Danso, who I like. And then to get Paulina and Kudos in, that is already the best window we've ever had under Levy, but we want so much more. It doesn't feel like it because we need to do a lot more. That's what it is, but it is the best if you look at that. And now if we get Silvino in and Eze, I think we've been a brilliant winner. Then I don't care who else we get in. Although I'd like a left back, I like a left centre back, but I'm not too concerned about the centre backs because why we want to let Vuskovic go out on loan, I do not know. Right, but what's your take?
Vuskovic, he hasn't officially gone on loan, has he? I don't think.
No, but they're looking.
He will. Though. He wasn't in the Super Cup squad either, so I think it's. Yeah, I think he will be.
I mean, the thing about Tottenham and transfers is that you have Levy saying that he wants to win the Premier League and Champions League. You're not going to do that by signing £22 million for El Kunas when you've got Eze and Silvano and other players available. That you can go for. So, Tottenham really don't act like a big club. Certainly not in the transfer market.
No.
I agree.
Yeah. So hang on, I'm just going to go through these, and we will move on to another point.
Hulu's not a 10.
Big up Jess from Leeds. Yeah, Leeds supporters. Yeah.
Well, that's another 20 million, isn't it, for Solomon?
Yeah, I mean, I think he didn't go. He hasn't gone, has he?
No, I think he's injured at the moment. Isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a slight injury, I think. Yeah, I didn't put him on the injury woe list. Right, before we go on to the PSG game, let's discuss this month. There should be the playoffs for the Champions League. Now, I'll bring this up early because I don't want you all to have nightmares tonight, you know what I mean, when you go to bed. So I'm going to bring this up, right? And we'll talk about each pot individually. We go through them. Now, we've got to pick two teams out of the pot. When we do this, bear in mind, do you really want to play the hard sides at home, or do you want to play them away first and win the easy games at home? I mean, look, this is the list, guys, right? So we talk about pot one. Now, we know we can't get Man City. We can't play Liverpool. We can't play Chelsea. All the others are frightening as well, though. You know what I mean? But so, Connor, you're going to pick two out of this. Which two are you going for?
Dortmund, definitely.
Okay.
And then the rest, I mean,
Inter, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, Inter probably, isn't it? Yeah, particularly as they've lost their manager and the players are getting older. I mean, they look very old in the final against PSG. But yeah, it's probably those two. To your point, I think, in terms of being home and away, to me, to give ourselves the best chance of getting through, I just want to play the easier games at home where we can, and just take the loss in the away ones to some extent. Part of me is also eyeing this up as I get a nice trip away somewhere, away from the wife and 2 young children under 4, hopefully to somewhere nice in Europe. So I am thinking about that as I go through this. But yeah, I think it's Dortmund and Inter from pot 1.
Yeah, I'm same on that. Yeah.
You're the same, Eugene?
Oh, for sure.
Home or away with these games, guys, though?
Although I like the idea of playing the weaker team at home, Inter away would be a pretty tough ask. And I'd probably think we'd have more chance at home
Big up,
against
Jose.
than away against Dortmund. But
I just don't want us playing the Bayern again. I've seen enough of Bayern.
yeah,
Anybody else or PSG? To be honest, Madrid doesn't scare me as much as they would have in the past. They look a bit iffy, but I mean, and it'd be fun to play Madrid just for a spectacle. It'd be a spectacle. But yeah,
Well, we
Dortmund,
spanked
Inter,
them last time,
sure.
didn't we? We beat them at home at Wembley.
mm.
We
Yeah,
drew, and we was in the group with Dortmund and Madrid. No one said those two are going to qualify, and we won the group. That's Spurs for you, but it
We
was
just
under
need Wingsy back, Harry Winks, to boss Madrid.
Yeah.
He had a great game. I saw that game. Yeah, I was at Wembley that night. It was a brilliant game. But,
Okay, pot 2. We can't play Arsenal. I'd love to play them, to be honest with you. Get them early. So, and then I think we can actually play any other 2 here, guys. Brad, you first this time. We'll go bottom up, right?
let's have a look. I've no idea. Well, I wouldn't want to play Juventus or Atletico Madrid because no matter what sort of form they're in, they're 2 decent teams. You never. Club Bruges, I don't think they're going to be very strong. Leverkusen, although they were pretty good. We could play Benfica and have a match up with Eric Dyer. Is it Eric? No, it's not them, is it? Has he gone to Benfica or someone else? No,
Monaco.
That's right. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. I don't know really. Club Bruges, I think, would be one of the teams I want to play.
Well, they've got to win their playoff to get in this group.
Oh, okay. And then I've always wanted to beat Benfica because my dad was always told me about when we got conned in the semi-final against Benfica.
Yeah, my dad tells me about that.
Yeah, in the European Cup. And I've ever since then,
goals disallowed for offside.
I've always wanted to beat Benfica. So let's go with Club Brugge and Benfica.
Eugene, you the same? I mean, see, sometimes what you do is you've got a big name, a big historical name, but they could be going through shit like Man United, for example. And you think if you're Europe, you draw Man United, you think you're drawing a top side. So what? I don't know how good Atalanta are or Villarreal, to be honest. To
be honest, none of those teams scare me. Even Atletico, I can see just a 0-0 stinkfest. So, I mean, Juve, of course, but even Juve are a bit in the mud. So I wouldn't be super concerned about any of these teams at home. Of course, playing away in Italy is tough, right? With the ultras and everything. So, obviously it's not as scary as pot 1. So we should be able to get results against any of these teams, in my opinion.
Yeah,
especially at home.
I mean, for me, this is the benefit of us also being a Prem team, because I hate to say it because I hate them, but Arsenal are by far the best team in that pot 2, and they will then be playing, some of the other teams that are not us. So I agree with the sentiments from the guys. I don't think there's anyone in that pot 2 that you are particularly worried about. I mean,
and it's the same league basis as the Europa League was, which makes it even weirder. So it's not like you're playing the same team home and away.
No.
So you're going to play 4 probably hard teams. We'll still. I don't know how good Atalanta are, and if Club Brugge, their coefficient's better than ours by about. You can see the points on there. If they get through.
The ironic thing is, a few of those teams, Adrian, have lost their managers and stuff and going through a bit of transition. Leverkusen,
you'll know more about that than me then. Because,
Atalanta have lost their manager, Juventus are still a bit of a shit show. Frankfurt we've already beat, plus they've now lost Ekatika. Club Brugge are not as good as. So this is the funny thing. I mean, when you actually look at it like this, and we're all talking about the massive step up to the Champions League, which of course it is when you look at pot 1 plus Arsenal. But then you look through the rest of the team and you go, do you know what? Actually, they're teams that are there or thereabouts with us.
And we're feeling a bit better because we've strengthened already with Polina and Kudus, and we've got Denso.
No, and if you look at pot 3 and pot 4, even pot 2, those are the Europa League quality teams. There's not like one team that I'm looking at, even like Napoli, and just saying, hey, I'd be really concerned. I mean, every team pot 2 and on, I would say we should be able to get a result.
I mean, I'm not saying that
Galatasaray away. That's the most difficult game, I'm sure.
I'm not saying that we'll win all our 4 home games, but I'd back us in our 4 home games with that crowd behind us against anyone on our day, on our night.
Eugene, I'll start with you with pot 3, because to me, if you're looking at historical names, pot 3 looks harder than pot 2 to me when you look down it.
I mean, yeah, but again, it depends, right? Olympiacos away wouldn't be easy. Napoli away wouldn't be easy. But again, I mean, if you just look quality-wise, we should, be at least as good as those teams, if not better.
Slavia Prague, don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would play, of course, Slavia Prague.
Would you want to go and play Bodo again on a plastic
PSV,
pitch?
or I mean, Bodo or PSV.
Yeah,
Well, you'd mind Bodo at home, would you?
I mean, Marseille ain't seemed that well when they had Boli playing for them, winning the European Cup a few years ago.
And Marseille in France. Again, like, those teams are tough at home. Like, if we play away, those teams are tough. But in our ground, there is no excuse.
I don't want Marseille, definitely not away. Not with the demographics of Marseille, right? When, you need an armed guard if you're in Marseille, basically, and if you're a fan.
Napoli also.
What does the tick mean, Adrian?
Sorry?
What does the tick mean?
They're already in the groups.
Oh,
the
right. Okay.
Ones have got playoffs. So Bodo Glimt, and these playoffs, I think they're towards the end of this month.
Oh, right. Fair enough.
Celtic, Union, SG. Yeah. So pot 3 for me. Because I don't.
How many teams make it from each a group? 2 or 3?
No, you don't. It's whoever finishes it.
Oh, that's right. It's a new system. Oh, that's right.
If and then you've still got playoffs. It's exactly the same as Europa League. So as long as we could actually finish 8th out of 16 teams, right? And we'd be in the playoffs.
So no excuse. There is no excuse for us not to move on.
Oh yeah, we should definitely be in the top 24.
We finished 3rd, didn't we, in the Europa League? We finished 3rd, I think.
Yeah, well,
4th, I think it was. We had Bilbao, Lazio, and United above us. Yeah, 4th.
Right. So looking at these, then you've got Slavia Prague and Glimt, like you're saying. Marseille, they're now managed by Zerbi.
Yeah.
And I think they've got Højbjerg.
Yeah.
That would be ironic. And Dyer's, but they're not in Monaco, are they? Right. Okay. All right.
But given
who Højbjerg scored for, didn't he? Against, sorry.
Against, when we qualified. In the last minute, good goal, wasn't it? Yeah.
But given the way this looks, I would definitely play the big teams away. If we have to play Real or Inter or Barca, I'd play those games away and play home games against the likes of Marseille.
And the thing is, the reason it looks a bit odd, pot 4 looks odd with Newcastle, is because it's coefficient. If you haven't been in Europe, you're going in the bottom pot. You know what I mean? Because they ain't till they won that League Cup, they haven't won everything.
Well, again, Adrian, it's the same point that I made with Arsenal in pot 2. Again, we have the benefit that we can't get Newcastle. We can't get Newcastle because they're English. So again, they're the best team by some way in pot 4. So again, that sort of works in our.
It's not looking so bad now, is it? Not looking so bad.
Good question, boy. What's the positive of being top of pot 3 and not pot 4, do we get an easier draw if we're at the top of that pot?
There is, I think, in the Europa League, it worked out that didn't we get a home draw because we finished third? I think the top 4 teams, it's when you get your home draw or away draw first, when you're drawn against the next team. So and you're playing them over 2 legs. I think it's whether you play at home or away first. I think
tell you what, I wouldn't mind Celtic at home. I think that'll be an event. I think.
Oh yeah, that'd be fantastic because they'll bring down thousands. Right? Yeah. Well, they'll fill their allocation basically. So yeah. So in pot 4, I don't know anything about this.
I think you play a team from each pot, home and away, basically. So like, if we get Inter and Dortmund from pot 1, we'll play one of them home, one of them away. Yeah. And same with 2, 3, and 4. I don't think it matters whether you're at the top of pot 3.
See, Monaco in pot 4. Eric Dyer's there. He's
but then what's the difference of being in pot 3 or pot 4?
Ferencvaros with Robbie Keane as well.
Yeah. What was you saying, Eugene, about pot 4?
I'm saying then what's the difference? What's the upside of being in pot 3 and not pot 4?
It's coefficient. It's just coefficient. It's like how many times you've been in Europe before. This is why Celtic are always being in Europe and probably.
But I'm saying, but being in pot 3,
what's the difference in terms of draw?
Do we get? Do we get a better draw being in pot 3 and not pot 4?
Don't know if it affects your home or away.
There has to be a difference, right? Otherwise, why even have a coefficient?
Well, it was only been introduced last season. It was only introduced for the last season. So if they've looked at any anomaly and thinking, oh, we should have favoured these teams that finished higher or whatever, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
I was trying to Google it, Eugene, as you were talking, and people were replying saying there's no
difference. We were looking whether we were going to see in the earlier rounds last year, we're looking to see, we'll probably end up getting Lazio, we said, but they got knocked out, didn't they? Right? And it was because when we were playing them up, I can't remember now, actually. I think I'm still got that warm glow inside from winning it. Well, that's that. So it doesn't look as frightening. Pot 1 is very strong, right? But yeah, I mean, we should make the last. Well, you got to make the next game, then you make the last 8 after that. Then it's 15 games to win it, like the Europa League was. So yeah, we'll see how well we do. You never know. You never know. Right. Well, let's move on to the last point of the day. Let me go through the chat first because there's a few to go through here. Dan's in here. And I haven't mentioned Vlahovic, Dan, today. King Otto, Ryan, good man. I'll go through these and we do the predicted lineup for PSG. He wants Villarreal and Benfica. Yeah. They're qualifying for another. They played today, Rangers, didn't they? They were 1-0 down at half time, but they won the first leg, so I don't know how they got on. Right, I'm going to have to skip some of you guys. Union sort of getting what? Okay.
Nothing hot off the press, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was just that Steve, who comes on and shows, regular friend, said about the Silvino. I'm taking it all with a pinch of salt, though. So,
I mean, but given that they're going for Donnarumma and Rodrigo interest, I think it's pretty close to being done because I think that's where the money's coming from.
Yeah,
I think where there's smoke, there's fire on Sevilla. So
yeah,
it should happen.
Right. For those of you who don't know, joined us late, the 150 of you viewing us on all platforms, which is brilliant. Spurs versus Peas Super Cup final, Stadio Friuli, Udine, Italy, Wednesday the 13th of August, kickoff 8 o'clock UK time tomorrow. And for those of you who didn't know, Udine is Vicario's hometown. I hope that's an omen. I'm sure we all hope that's an omen. This is our head-to-head meetings with PSG. How many of you remember this game, 2017? Do you remember it?
No.
I'm going to remind you.
Yeah, is it the 4-2?
Yeah, I don't remember ever playing PSG.
Yeah.
Spurs head-to-head. We've only met once before. PSG 2, Spurs 4. 23rd of July 2000. Ericsson 11 minutes. Dyer 18. Alderweireld in 82, Harry Kane penalty in 88. And I know, can't remember
Was that a
I know
pre-season
that,
game then as well,
Yeah,
given the
so,
date?
yeah.
July, yeah,
and
has to be.
I'm sure Edison Cavani scored for them. He did. I don't know who got
Yeah, he
their other
did.
goal.
He did.
Yeah.
Cavani scored and Pastore, and Kevin Trapp was sent off in the 46th
Ooh.
minute.
Okay.
Pastore,
Right.
good player.
Mm.
It was in
Right.
Florida, the game.
Oh, right. Oh.
Okay. Injury woes. Solomon, Dragerson, Takai, Udogi, he went out with as part of the bonding group. Madison and Kulusevski, we know about. I don't think I've missed anyone else out. Yeah. And we also know that Basuma was left home for being a naughty boy, always being late for training. His days are numbered. I'll be glad to
He's
see him.
got to go, and he's got
I
to
don't
go.
want people. That's not professional to me,
No.
right? And that's when your clubs go down, or when all them little things creep in, it gets slack. So these are the 21 then that went out. Vicario, Kinski, Austin, Udogi, Porro, Spence, Romero, Vidavi, Danso, Davies, Paulina, Gray, Bentancur, Bergville, Saar, Kudus, Johnson, Odebert, Tar, Richard, Solanke. Right. We go through these in. We do the goalkeeper, fullbacks, centre backs, midfield, strike force, right? Otherwise, you're going to cover it all and just kill the conversation. Right. So, Connor in goal. I think we all know who's going to start.
Yeah, you'd expect it to be Vicario, I think, given given the magnitude of the final and the fact it's in your hometown. But it will be interesting, I think, to see throughout the course of the season whether Frank looks to bring Kinski in. I think Vicario has big strength in shot stopping, but less so in playing the ball out with his feet or claiming crosses. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. He'll be added to the Europa League squad last time. He was left out in the January list quota. When you put the list up again, you're allowed to add one more player or something to the squad or whatever at that time by the UEFA rules, like. And he was left out, and Dragerson was left out because he was injured, and Werner was left out because Spence, Danso, and Bergvall, I think, came in. I think it was those three into the Euro squad. No, Spence, Danso, and Tell. Tell came in for those three. Right. Yeah. So. Yeah, I just on that, because let me just give you this. This is our homegrown issue, so we're one short. Austin, Davies, Danso, Spence, Johnson, Madison, Solanke. So anyone out there who doesn't like any of these players, and I know Spurs fans are very marmite on most players, the likes of Johnson, Madison, even though he's injured, I think he'll be added to the squad. Yeah. So that's the homegrown, but the non-homegrown, it's not so much a problem now because we got rid of a load of players. Now, as it stands in Europe, we've only got one homegrown player been with the academy for 3 years. That's Austin. So, and you need 4. Otherwise, you lose 3 of your quota. It doesn't affect the squad because you can add people from the B list. So you're not short on numbers. But what it does, if you add a lot of foreign players coming in, then they're going to want to be in the Champions League squad. And at the moment, with only Austin, we've got to lose 3 of the foreign quota, which gets us down to 14 instead of 17. So we're level pegging at the moment. We bring Silvano in. We're not. We're one top heavy. But out of this list, Solomon Gill are not going to be added to that list anyway. Kulu, we don't know when he's going to be back. Madison looks like he'll be out all for the season. Kulu's foreign. Madison's not. Sorry. So that's 3 that is going to be off of here now. That takes us down to 11. And we can have 14. So by the time we finish our window, I don't see us bringing in 3 foreign players. So I think we're going to be fine this year with that. So that just clears that up. So back to the list. Yeah, so we're all agreement on Vicario, he turns up at the right time. I mean, them saves in the Europa League Cup final.
His composure in that final was where, I mean, that mistake that Van der Ven.
Yeah, he made a mistake, but he made 2 blinding saves.
Oh, right, that save at the end was brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know. He every time I watch him in big games, he's just something about him. He doesn't inspire confidence in me for some reason. I don't know exactly what it is.
Against Bayern, who should have beaten us about 8-0.
Yeah.
great, but they had a world class attack. I mean, like you got Kane and Diaz, and you got Michael Olise, and they got Kingsley Coman. I mean, like they tore us to pieces, didn't they? Fullbacks, guys. Your doggy's not fit, but he's gone as a bonding trip. So I think Spence left back again. Yeah.
I normally would go with Porro and Spence because of Udogie not being fit. It's interesting that Ben Davies was at a press conference today with Vicario, and sometimes that indicates that they're going to start. So it wouldn't be on the realms of possibility that Davies starts at left back. And I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying I want that.
I know why you're saying it.
There.
I know that's not your view, but the thought of Doué running at Ben Davies, I mean...
Yeah, this is it. Spence is the second fastest player at the club. Yeah. And remember, when we played Liverpool at home, he marked Salah out the game because he's inverted, so he's using his other foot because he's inverted because he's playing on the other side.
The only reason, I'm saying
it would be the same if they were both on the right. It still would have been the same. So they were inverted. So, and he's timed as the second fastest player.
No, the only reason I said that was because he's at the press conference.
No,
and I must admit, Thomas Frank does seem to like him.
Yeah, he does. I mean, the thing is with Spence as well, if it is Doué playing on the right for PSG, they played with each other at Rennes. So he had, they've trained together, they know each other. And to your point, Adrian, I think Spence is good at left back defensively because of the fact that most teams play those inverted wingers. They're coming onto his stronger foot. He locked up Saka as well in that friendly against Arsenal. I think Saka did nothing, right? So, I like Spence defensively at left back for sure.
I still want us to get a left back in though. Yeah. So, centre backs, Eugene.
It's going to be Romero van der Ven. I mean, I do have my concern about van der Ven. Just his positioning, his overall center back play when he doesn't need to rely on his pace. We all know when his pace is involved, he does really, really well cleaning up. But if he doesn't have to use his pace, we know that aerially he's not the best. And then his positioning concerns me a bit. So this season we'll get to see if he is that top center back or if he still has a lot to learn. Because again, from what I've seen in preseason and even last season, when we play low block, he makes some mistakes. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does this season.
A good point. I've noticed that as well because recently he's done well in the low. I mean, obviously the clearing off the line in the final and even in the other games he's looked good, last ditch tackles and things like that. But we've mainly seen him in in a foot race with an attacker, which is when he's at his strengths and like you say, positional play and all that. Yeah.
I feel like Danso positionally is better. He just has more experience. When Danso plays, I feel, confident and comfortable that he's not going to make many mistakes. Van der Ven, it's hit and miss for me.
I think Romero's going to be our captain. I mean, whether him and Vicario will be captains, I don't know. But so I think he's going to start the majority of games. But could you see a reason for Danso starting?
No, I think about it personally, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to be Romero van der Ven.
Barring injury, no.
Yeah, I'd play Romero van der Ven still. I mean, I do like Dan, so I think he's good cover. And I do get the point about van der Ven. I do think his biggest strength is that sort of emergency defending. But I still, they've got nice partnership.
That's where the free at the back comes in as well, isn't it? If we're 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go, you bring Danso on, like in the final. So.
100%,
yeah, I think it could turn out to be a disaster for us tomorrow, or we could play it out of our skins. They might be off point. A lot of their players only just come back from holiday. They've only about 6 days since they've been back in training or something. And what we don't know is we don't know how the game's going to go, and we don't know then, according to how the game goes, whether Frank will use a lot of substitutions.
Am I right?
It's a cup final.
Yeah. Am I right in saying there's no extra time? It goes
Yeah.
straight to penalties.
That's right. Yeah, I think it goes straight to
I
penalties.
hope so. I hope so, Brad, because what's fucking pissed me off at the Premier League, we're playing a cup final, which is banter for us on a Wednesday,
yeah,
and we're
yeah.
playing Saturday instead of
Okay.
Sunday. We
I know.
could be playing Sunday. There would have been no harm in giving us an
Right.
extra day's rest,
Mm.
right? It's just so. Oh, they do my head in. They're useless anyway. The people that run the league, they're absolutely useless. So Romero, VDV, yeah, expected. Midfield,
Is
Who wants
Paulini
to
is
do
Paulini
the
as much tactically fit?
I don't know if he has the legs.
Munich.
Yeah, I don't know if he has the legs to keep up
If-
with their midfield. He seemed a bit
well, then,
slow against Byron.
well, you have to play him though because you want him to get fit.
I mean, I would start him and take him off. I
Yeah.
think if he's looking knackered.
Half an hour, yeah, take him off after an hour.
So I think I think the team will be Paolini, Bentancur, and Sarr.
If we're still in the
Three
game,
in
right?
midfield.
If we're still in the game, you might leave him on, but
My question is
Paolini
why does Frank like Sarr at the 10? Like personally, I'd play Bergvall at the 10 instead of Sarr if he's fit.
Yeah,
But
Bergvall's sort of player that we sort of don't talk about much now, isn't he? Really, he's sort of.
because Sarr at the 10, he offers engine and but his end product. I mean, he does shoot from the outside the box too.
Ironically,
He's the
Sarr
only
scores
one,
a lot of goals from midfield.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Bergvall, I feel like
Bergvall's got
offers
more
more color.
creativity.
yeah. Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm not
I-
saying just Frank.
I
I
agree.
and also
I
Thomas
just think Frank will pick Sarr. I think because I think he'll want the legs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think it'd be Paulina, Bentancur, and Sarr. I think it'd be the same three again.
Yeah.
They're probably. We're not. I mean, it's not like we're away to an away team like we were at Bayern Munich in the home crowd and everything like that. It's like a neutral venue, apart from Vicario's played there.
small crowd as well. There's only 25, 26,000.
Yeah, 25,000 at stadium. Yeah.
And also, if I think Gray and Bergwell are quite good to bring off the bench, a bit of energy near the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. The question is though, if we do have a game on Saturday, so I wonder how Frank is going to manage the squad, whether everybody who starts tomorrow will also start.
Well, this will be the first test because if we drew on Saturday or something went wrong, you can imagine the fan base. Why did he play this team Wednesday? You know what'll happen. But and I'll be on his case as well as that. So, yeah, so I think solidity. He's going to go for that. I think he likes a narrow pivot. He likes Sarr, and actually Sarr finished last season well, and he's been very good this pre-season. Actually,
I like Sarr as well. I think it's finding his best position. I think that's the problem with Sarr. Well,
it's good that we can talk about permutations. It wasn't like a season or two ago where we had no permutations, right? So the squad has improved much, but it's a better squad than 17th.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, it did improve a bit. I mean, there are permutations, but it doesn't mean they're better permutations than before. We still have the same players.
We've got a lot of number 8s, haven't we? That's the one. There's an argument to say they're all quite similar, and you need one who's maybe a bit better at passing, but. We've got a lot of 8s in terms of, I think there will be a lot of rotation of that double pivot naturally, just because that's where we've got bodies. But we absolutely, as we're talking about, this shows why we need a 10 so desperately, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that creativity.
What gets me about centre backs when it's VDV and Romero, and the fans like to have a debate, but it's like comparing apples with oranges because they're totally different styles of player anyway. And then they go, Romero only gets fit for Argentina, blah, blah. I get that last year it got toxic. We finished 17th and we were shit, right? No denying that. But Romero had 4,000 minutes last season and VDV had about 1,000. But no one complains about... See, when they love a fan, no one complained about VDV, right? Being out longer, right? For a longer time and playing less minutes because, they're the player, he's the sexier player, he's the faster runner and all that. And so... so I just find these things odd. And I always look for these facts as well.
And look, it's a good point because I mean, I made the same point. I think it's just because of the way that Romero misses games. Sometimes it obviously feels like it's because he's prioritising Argentina. But
Yeah, or they think he was looking for an out, looking to leave the club as well. So then fans suddenly love turns into hate quite quickly with our fan base.
Yeah, but for me, I think Van Vent's got that Carl Walker thing where you do an amazing recovery run and it looks really good on the eyes but actually, for me, the better all-rounded centre back is Romero.
Yeah. Oh, he's a good passer. There isn't a better passing centre back than Romero and I mean, then when times I thought he's slow, when you're at the stadium, you've got the aerial view. There's no movement. Last year, no movement from our midfielders. Brad's been here, no movement from our front three. They all stand there like statues. What's he supposed to do? But he's a winner. Look at the trophies he's won. Right, the attack, guys. Let me get this up again.
The best part.
Yeah. Front three now.
Well, I think Kudos starts.
Yeah, he's the guaranteed start. Then now we're guessing.
I had my doubts. I had my doubts that
Sorry,
Solanke's fit.
Richarlison Super Cup is going to hurt my soul.
Yeah. He keeps saying that Solanke is available for selection and doesn't select him. So I just wonder whether he's still 100% fit. So I can actually see Richarlison starting as a striker.
I hope not. He's been awful pre-season. He's missed some sitters. That header at the near post didn't even get it on target. One at the far post he missed as well, which was like, another one like someone like Kane would have smashed him and easy.
The one thing I will say about Richarlison is Bayern Munich, he did actually have a couple of shots, which none of our other players seem to wanted to do. So, but no, I hope it is Solanke and he's fit. But
I think Frank is going to rest him for Burnley. I think
possibly.
I would too. To be fair,
strikers need to be sharp though, Eugene. You need you'd want to give him a half at least. I would have thought. But I mean, he may rest him. He may rest him. I mean, I know Frank is very detailed, called the professional. I like all that. But if he'd have looked at games when Ainge tried to play Johnson on the left, it never worked. And Johnson was tried on the left a few times, and it never really worked. And for him to play on the left against Bayern, and all they had to do was stop Kudus, really, because Richarlison's crap, and just block our left-hand side up, which was too easy. It was all too easy for them, It's like
the problem is as well, when you have Johnson and Richarlison, neither of them can trap a bag of cement. Do you know what I mean? The ball comes back onto you so quick because neither of them can retain the ball whatsoever. So this is why we desperately need Solanke to be playing. And then, at the moment, stick Eugene out on the left wing. It's sort of like, it's just.
Kudus and who else then? Who are we going for? We're going for Solanke. We're hoping Solanke's fit and he starts.
Hoping Solanke's fit, and then I'd probably put Odegaard out on the left personally, because at least
unless
he's the most skillful player at the club. I mean,
can he play in a 10 or not?
Yeah, we tried him there once.
Tried him in a 10, didn't we?
Yeah, we tried him once. He didn't do too badly, I think. But
for those that don't know that are listening, the 150 he came from the PSG academy. He went to Burnley under Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany raved under him, and Vincent Kompany's now manager of Bayern, isn't he? And at that time, before the Euros, which Spain won, his stats were identical to Nico Williams. They were identical. Had identical stats. But then, of course, Nico Williams has gone on and won stuff. But he's still at his club, and he ain't moved on yet, has he? I don't think he's moved on, Nico Williams. He's still at
Barca couldn't register him.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah, they couldn't register.
I've got a feeling you're going to see Johnson in the first 11s.
Yeah, but on the left,
Frank wanted Johnson and he wanted Gray when he was at Brentford. We nicked Gray at the last minute, but he wanted Johnson as well. I didn't want Johnson at the club. I'm on record of saying that, but I must admit, first season 5 goals, next season 18 goals. He has got a knack of being in the right place. He's got that striker's instinct to be in the right place at the right time. I don't think the fan base would have been. Yeah, I don't think the fan base would have been so toxic toward Johnson. And I think it's only on the media. It's not at the ground when they're singing Johnson, ole, ole. It's not at the ground. They love him at the ground, right? But if he'd scored 18 goals and we'd finished fifth, there'd be no talk about his work rate or anything like that.
Mm.
And I believe he was told to stay out on the wing. Like Werner was hugging the wing under Ange as well. I believe that was tactical. I don't believe it's anything to do with coming back, because in the final, at least in the final, he put a shift in. They all did, though, didn't they, in the final? But
Oh God, yeah.
But even when you look at his skill set, he cannot take his man on. He cannot cross the ball. So playing him on the left, I just don't see it. If he's not going to cut in, like he's not a winger. He cannot do anything that a winger is supposed to do. So
I've never thought of him as a winger. Never.
Yeah, so playing him on the left would be a waste.
The only thing he might try and do, and look, I don't think it's right, because for Johnson's goals, and I know it's the hardest thing in football to do, is to put the ball in the back of the net. But for me, he does. If he doesn't score, he does do the square root of fuck all. To be honest, I think it's and sometimes the sum of the parts by playing better players makes up for the goals you miss when he doesn't play. But for me, maybe Frank might think, look, Hakimi does like to roam, right, and get caught out of position, and he's brilliant, obviously, but he gets caught out of position sometimes. Do you stick Johnson out on the left to try and do that sort of cross-field ball when Hakimi's out of position to hit them on the break, perhaps, because he's got pace? Maybe, but yeah, I mean, I'd rather see Odobert personally, because I think Odobert will give you a little bit more on the ball generally, rather than just hitting space with Johnson playing there.
Well, they're all going to. I mean, this is the thing when we were talking about bringing other wingers in, and when we were talking about bringing Grealish in, who's a fantastic player but doesn't score a great deal of goals, and we've lost Sonny's goal input, 12 goals, 11 assists. You got to replace that, and then I just when I was sitting down thinking, well, I could see Odobert or Tell scoring as many goals as Grealish does. That's one of the reasons I wasn't keen on bringing him in. I know that a lot of the fan base were keen on bringing him in, but now he's gone to Everton. But I wasn't. His age as well. I mean, alone at worst. If we had, listen, I support every player and manager while they're at the club, even if I don't like them. Even though I don't want Basuma or Charlison, I'll support them while they're there. I'm not going to boo them or nothing like that. You got anything else, guys, or because that's about it.
I'm just looking. Luis
Any
Enrique
rumours?
said
Anyone
Thomas
got any
joined.
feeds going, you guys? Any rumours that anything sort of getting hot for us?
The only thing that's hot is it's 28 degrees at the moment. I think it's hot.
No, I was saying, I'm just seeing Luis Enrique said he almost joined us in 2023.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a nice quote to read, wasn't it?
Oh man, it's like, what a mistake. He's such a great manager. And Levy probably, what a mistake.
We've made a few, Eugene. We've made a few. Right, guys. First of all, to those of you watching us on various platforms, 150 of you have stayed with us all this time, which is fantastic, right? Big up to you all. Like I said earlier, to those of you in here then, there's a subscribe button in the bottom right corner. Please click on it. It doesn't hurt to click on it. It really helps the algorithm. We're a young fledgling show, basically. We're going to be going about a year. We're doing fine. We have excellent guests on like these guys, and we're going to get them all back. Right, they'll all be back on in the future. Big up to everyone in the chat for your comments and questions. And as you can see with the ribbon at the bottom, you can find us on XCOM. The links are there. You can find us on Facebook. And you can find our Facebook page as well. Right, so, and I just want to say a big up, because I think those that come to our YouTube studio and watch the videos on playback, I think you're fantastic, actually. Big up to you guys as well. So with that, I'm going to end the stream. Thank everyone again. Going to play you out with this soul sound as we start with the heavy metal intro, which we always use. And I'll see you guys in the back room.
We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs Diehards heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs Diehards heart and soul. Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs diehards, heart and soul, lily white and baby blue.